This week, I found myself asking a difficult question. Is the You Alright Mate mission too big for me? I'll come back to that in a moment, because this week has been a big one. One of those weeks where you can genuinely feel the needle shifting. And there was two really significant moments that reminded me why this work matters. We kicked off the week with a huge win. We secured a brewery partner for the You Alright Mate alcohol-free lager. The brilliant team at Lakedown Brewery have agreed to partner with us to produce it in collaboration with Samaritans. Now, on the surface, it might just look like another alcohol-free beer, but the idea behind it is something much bigger. For every can sold, a percentage of the profits will go directly to Samaritans, helping to fund the life-saving calls they answer every single day. One can funds a call. One call could save a life. But it's also another touch point, another reminder, another moment where someone might see those three words, "You all right, mate?" Maybe stop and check in with someone. All being well, they're going to be appearing in bars and pubs across Brighton and beyond. So a huge thank you to James and the team at Lakedown Brewery for believing in the vision and supporting the mission. Then on Tuesday, something else really powerful happened. I released a podcast episode with the brilliant Dr. Hildi Mitchell. And during that conversation, we asked a really big question. What is the purpose of education? Because if we're honest, the system feels broken, and yet very little seems to change. That question landed particularly close to home this week, because my twins are currently doing their mock SATs at school. And if I'm honest, it frustrates me. Just 10 years old, their success is being measured through memory tests. But what hit me the hardest was when one of them said to me, "I don't think I'm smart, Daddy." That broke my heart a little, because I never want that to become her internal narrative. I never want her to feel less than or inadequate. Because when I look at her, her emotional intelligence is off the charts. She reads people beautifully. She cares deeply. She notices things that others miss. So I told her something I truly believe, that school only measures one type of intelligence. And it reminded me of that famous quote. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its entire life believing it is stupid. That conversation strengthened my belief that what we're doing through the You Alright Mate schools programme really, really matters. I might not be able to change the whole education system, but maybe, just maybe, we can create a small ripple. Then, on Tuesday evening, we hosted the You Alright Mate Sussex Gathering. And honestly, it was a special night. 50 men gathered in Brighton with open minds to listen, to learn, and to challenge some of the outdated narratives around men's mental health. We were joined by some incredible local communities doing important work, supporting men across Sussex, including Paul Dukes from Out of Puff Daddies. We had the legend Dan Flanagan from Dad LaSalle, Seb Royal from Icebreakers, and David Eakins from Talk Club. The intention behind the gathering was really simple: to bring men together, to open honest conversations, and to share practical tools that support better connection, well-being, and a healthier definition of success. During the evening, we ran a small exercise from the Conversation Starter programme, focused on one of the most important pillars, relationships. We asked the room to pause and reflect. Who are the people in your circle of trust? And where do they sit within that circle? Conversations that followed were deep, honest, and incredibly powerful. And it proved two things to me. First, just how much this work is needed. And second, how powerful it can be when communities come together rather than working in isolation. My heartfelt thanks go out to the panellists, to the brilliant team at Projects, to Joel, who once again stood beside me supporting this mission, to Max, who spoke about the impact we're starting to see in schools, and more importantly, to every man who showed up honestly and with an open mind. But my biggest reflection actually came afterwards. During that relationships exercise, we talked about the people around us, but we didn't talk about one of the most important relationships in our lives, the relationship with ourselves. Because despite this being a week of big wins, after the buzz of the event had faded, I stopped, paused, and asked myself a difficult question. Is this mission too big for me? And sometimes, if I'm honest, it can feel that way. There are moments of overwhelm, moments where the weight of it all feel heavy. When that happens, I remind myself of something my friend Daniel Gainsford said to me on a podcast last year. He said, even if we just change our little corner of the world, that creates a ripple. And maybe that ripple spreads further than we ever imagined. So I want to ask you this week, who is in your circle of trust? And when was the last time you told them how much they mean to you? Because as Mark Convey said in his post, when we truly understand ourselves, the space between us and other people becomes lighter, more honest, and more human. My final note to share is something small that happened this week that meant a lot. My mum and dad are currently visiting my brother in Australia, and completely separately, they both sent me a message just to say they were proud of me. Those few words meant more than they probably realise. So I want to end this week with a simple thank you. Thank you, Mum and Dad. Your support helped more than you know. Because sometimes, you all right, mate, isn't even a question we need to ask. Sometimes it's simply sending someone a message to tell them I'm proud of you or I love you. Those words might be exactly what someone needs to hear. Until next week. You all right, mate?